Howdy, and welcome to the Feed Bandit Podcast, where we have fun talking all things hunting, and in the process, do our best to support small and family-owned businesses in the hunting space. Here are your hosts and resident bandits, Jimmy Byrne and Richard Kinchlow. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit Podcast. Jimmy L. Bandito here, and as always, I'm joined by the Corn Bandit, Richard. How you doing, Corn Bandit?
Outstanding, sir. Howdy, folks.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, it's good to be back in the saddle here, recording another fun podcast for you guys. Just real quick before we get started, for our new listeners and older ones out there that haven't yet joined our email list, please be sure to do that today. When you do, you'll get some cool tips and tricks, stories, and killer hunting deals delivered straight to your inbox. We've made it easy for you to join, and that's by texting the word BANDIT to 345-345. You don't want to miss out, so join the hunt today by texting the word BANDIT to 345-345. All right, well, in this episode, we're starting a new series, which we'll call, at least as of now, Inside Our Gear Bags. The idea is we will talk about the gear we like to use out in the field, and we invite you, dear listener, to let us know what you think. Do you agree with what we're saying, disagree, use different gear, or whatever it is? Please let us know, as we'd love to hear from you. You can always email us at howdy@feedbandit.com, and we'd love to get a dialogue going. So with that, today, I think we wanted to talk about something that's we both agree is a very important investment into your gear, or really, into your gear bag or your gun, and that's optics. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, they're they're pretty darn important. Unless you're one of those, no, I only shoot open sight. Which, hey, if you do, God bless you, man. You're a lot better shot than me. I am all about the magnification.
Oh yes, same here.
Yeah, that's with the rifle scope. But I think with binoculars, I don't care if you shoot open sight, that's fantastic. But everybody's got to have binoculars.
Oh yeah, you got to be able to see.
Oh,
you're shooting at.
Right? Absolutely. Yep.
Unless you're
binoculars are key.
Unless you're able to sneak up on something, with a knife and take care of it that way, that would be impressive.
Yeah, and you don't have failing vision like we do.
What, you calling me old?
Actually, no. You've got that those laser eye things.
That's right. I got LASIK, and it's
speaking of, aren't you
over 10 years now?
Aren't you due for a reblast here pretty soon?
Well, that's what they they told me that in 10 years I might either need a redo or have to start using reading glasses.
Uh-oh.
but I'm fine. Since I had it done, really the only thing that affects me is at twilight. That's when, for whatever reason, I see the worst.
You mean you
right? I know where you're going with
prime time. That's
why I just wait for the big black hog to come in, and then I'm probably okay.
Right. Put the crosshairs on it and go. Well, actually, that's a really good segue. Yeah. Wow, way to go! Yeah, okay. Yeah. So talking about optics, we'll start with the scopes first. There's a million different scopes out there, I think, and that things have really changed over the past 10 years. They used to have just your standard 3x9 rifle scope, and then then they came out with the 4x12, and now, God, they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got stuff that if you're in Wisconsin and you want to shoot a deer in Chicago, you can do it now. It's pretty crazy. Also, the thermal scopes have really hit the market with a lot of fury, and they are so cool, and they're getting brighter and brighter every day, and just with the whole economies of scale thing, and what is one of the economics classes we took? As more and more of those things get on the market, the prices. So let's see. So the supply goes up, so the price goes down. Correct? Yes,
you are correct.
All right. Okay, I was working on that.
Barring any government intervention and
right,
prices,
right.
Blah, blah.
Yes, right. Yeah. So there's just a whole wide variety of different scopes out there on the market. So, if you're in the market for a scope right now for this coming deer season, me personally, I've been thinking about this. You really have to kind of look at a couple of things, in my opinion. One of which is, what you're not going to hate this phrase, but what's your budget? You know, well, I don't have a budget, okay? Because I'm really poor.
Yeah. Why do you hate that phrase so much?
I just can't stand it. It's like, hey, what? Well, and that's the job that I do.
You know what I can't stand?
What's that?
Is that dang Capital One commercial? You know, that what's in your wallet?
Oh,
It's none of your business.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So you really, it depends on, again, it depends on how much money you got, you know. I think obviously there's some of the more better name brand scopes such as Swarovski and Zeiss. I mean, they're really kind of the top of the line. There could be others actually. Again, we don't claim to be pros here, but those are the two that I'm most familiar with. So what do you get for God, I don't even know how much they are, $6,000-7,000 scope. Well, I think the biggest thing.
You're starting high.
Oh yeah, big time. The biggest thing you're going to get with those are going to be clarity. Okay, the clarity is going to be outstanding. Also, for that much money, it's also going to be pretty weather resistant, I should say. I mean, I don't care how well it's made. You know, if you dunk the thing in water, it's probably toast, right? But I think it would definitely be very weather resistant, and probably the third biggest, in my opinion, with the real high dollar scope. And again, not saying that some of the lower ones, because scopes I have are just fine as well, but being able to see during those key parts of the of the morning. Let me lay out kind of a typical example that quite literally happens to us every single year. So here we are, Rancho Bandito. We've got a bunch of corn feeders, okay, and we always end up setting the corn. I laugh because this is happening going on 20 years. We just can't seem to fix it.
Yeah, it's like
the kid who keeps sticking his hand in the electrical socket. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Yeah, instead of a Groundhog Day, it's a Groundhog Year for us.
Yes, it really is. It really is. So what ends up happening is we end up setting the feeders, and then we get up there on the blinds, and the feeder goes off, and it's still absolutely pitch dark. If you're 100 plus yards away, and there just happens to be any cloud cover, you're in deep doo doo. And then of course, if you've got a bunch of animals out there in front, you're really in deep doo doo. Okay,
you see the dark bodies moving around.
Oh God, yeah, it's awful. Yeah, and you're like, why did I get up? And in a 3-second spin of corn or whatever you're throwing is going to go away pretty quick. So, again, having a nice scope. I mean, again, those high dollar scopes, you should be able to see, what's rolling down there, because again, they really. They add a lot of clarity to them, and that's not only in the morning, but it's also at night too. Really, obviously, there's definitely shooting light, but again, in Texas and a lot of the other southern states, we have hogs, so that's what's kind of what's kind of cool is that after legal shooting light is over, well, it's there is no such thing for wild pigs, so. Being able to pick out and make sure that black bump that you see down there is indeed a hog and not a deer is obviously really key. So again, with those real high dollar ones, I think those are the three things that, you better get. But again, I think, selecting a scope depends on, what's your budget for them. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, I'd love to be able to afford one of those, one day when I grow up, but, what about you can get pretty good scopes for ones that you don't have to take out an insurance policy on, though.
Oh,
right?
And there's no doubt, absolutely. There's a myriad of different brands out there that offer a lot of that same functionality. And God, what's the difference? Boy, that's a really good question. I mean, I know obviously one of the brand is going to make a difference. Okay. So, and again, just throwing brands out there, a Leupold is going to be more expensive than the Simmons, I would think. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's just a brand thing. Obviously a Swarovski scope is going to be more expensive than a Leupold. All right. So that's just kind of how it falls. Functionality wise, well, they probably make a 3x9. They probably make a 4x12. Again, I bet you the one's got better clarity. I bet you the higher dollar one's going to have a lot, be a lot more weather resistant. But no, you can absolutely go out there and find a really good scope on a budget. I've heard a lot of really good things about the Cabela's. The Cabela scopes. I think they're the
Oh, I didn't know they
Alaskan.
had a brand.
Are you kidding
Well, I
me?
wonder who's making it for them.
Well, that's very true. Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, no, I think they're called the Alaskan Guide series. And I've heard some really good things about that. And they've got a myriad of different ones. They've got one that, if you're in Alaska and you're trying to shoot a Martian on the moon, I mean, you should see this thing. It's as long as a gun. It's ridiculous. But they got the different powers and things of that nature. I would also I think the second factor, when selecting a good rifle scope, would be, where are you going to be hunting? Okay. And really, how's that going to pair with your gun? All right. It's kind of like, pairing a good steak with a wine. You got to find something that pairs well. If you're going to be hunting here in Texas for whitetail deer, okay, and that's what this rifle's primary purpose is going to be. You probably, in my opinion, don't need to go out there and get a 9x50 scope where you can see from here to Oklahoma,
Right, or across a gigantic valley, or
yep, absolutely,
two mountains.
No doubt. Now, if you're hunting out west, all right, and that's primarily where you hunt, Utah, Idaho, and you're hunting elk that are on the other side of the equator, that would probably be a good scope for you to get. But again, just it depends on what you're looking for. I think a really good example of a friend that you and I both know that made for just such a mature choice for such a young, tender age. 1999, our good friend Matt was just getting into hunting, and we went and bought a Winchester 7mm from Walmart up there in Lubbock, and he kind of said, "Listen, I don't know that I'm going to have 8 million rifles, so I want to buy a rifle that'll do it all." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty much will kill anything with hooves, especially in the North America, except for Bigfoot, because he can't be killed." The different podcast. Right. Yeah, don't get me started. And so he says, "Okay, so I got a rifle. I think he paid like $350 for it. All right, yeah. So just an outstanding bargain." And then he says, "What about a scope?" I said, "Well, all right, if you really want to use this gun for mountain hunting and maybe for elk one day," and we had these dreams of, we'll take off from Lubbock and we'll backpack 67 miles in New Mexico country with an over-the-counter tag to hunt elk. Of course, that never happened. But anyways, he ended up finding I think it was like I think it's a Simmons. Simmons 4x. It was big. It was like 4x20. Still has it, folks. Like a 4x20. It's something just crazy. I think it was originally like $600, which I told him was good. He says, "Man, that's crazy. The scope's more expensive than the rifle." I said, "Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. Typically, your scopes are going to be more expensive than your rifles, unless, of course, you go get a custom built rifle. Mind you, most Model 700 rifles are $500-$600. Anyways, he ended up getting the Simmons, and we paired it, and it's to this day it's still his rifle of choice. And he's killed thousands, not thousands, but hundreds of deer, I bet, and pigs with it. I mean, he's just he's a crack shot with it, and so still to this day he is ready to rock and roll for elk and all that kind of stuff. He doesn't need to go out and buy a 300 Win Mag with a big old fancy, really high power scope, because he's got it. Right. Whereas with me, my two primary deer rifles, I've got a 260 Model 700 260 with a Buckmaster scope, which I think is made by Nikon, and it's a 3x12. So again, I want to see fur. Okay, I like to be able to zoom in there and get real tight. And that's just the kind of the way I like to shoot. Whereas my good buddy Travis, he would prefer a 2-power scope if he could. He loves to shoot. Like when he's sighting his rifle, he's shooting at 3-power, which I don't know how the hell he does it, but he does. So that's my primary rifles at 260, and then if I'm looking for something a little bit bigger, maybe a longer shot, or mule deer. If somebody wants to invite me on a mule deer hunt like 2019 in the fall, something like that, I'm available. I have.
What about the whole Feed Bandit podcast team here?
Yeah, sorry. Well, listen. Whoever invites us, Jimmy's a hell of a cook. So, right. We'll go shoot some mule deer. Jimmy will drink at camp and make us dinner. Right?
There you go.
But I've got a Model 700 308. But this time, and I didn't buy this. My father bought me a Zeiss 3x9. And it is a sweet scope, and the clarity is just incredible. And there is a noticeable difference between that Zeiss 3x9 and that 4x12 Nikon. And I can certainly see later. I can see earlier. And I don't know. I feel like when I'm zooming it, when I'm focusing in on an animal ready to squeeze that trigger, I just feel a little bit better. I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The better you can see, the more confidence you should have.
Sure.
It probably explains why, I didn't actually get glasses until third grade, and God, I wondered what I was seeing up until then.
Sure.
Because I'm blind as a bat, or I was before I got LASIK.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know where I was going with that. But the point is, no, I'm with you. I went through a similar kind of path as Matt. Although
you did,
the first rifle I bought was they don't make it anymore, evidently. Well, maybe they didn't as of
the Model 70, right?
It was 710.
710. Okay,
right. It was Remington.
I forgot about that.
And all that really meant was, well, I think it was the whole the gun itself. The way it was kind of put together, but the main thing was it came with a scope.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the marketing was. The package was, it came with a 3x9, and it was a Bushnell it came with.
Right.
And I hunted with that thing for 2 or 3 years with that same original scope on it, and it did well, and everything like that. And but like you, I was like, I have a little money now, and let me back up though. That whole rifle, that package with the scope, was like about $350 as well.
Yeah,
at the time.
That's great.
It was a 30-06, and I bought that kind of along the lines of Matt, and I'm like, this gun is pretty much all I'm going to need, as far as the caliber goes to shoot, what we hunt primarily.
Right.
So I bought that, and like I said, I hunted with that original scope on there, 3x9, for probably 3 years.
Right.
And I decided, you know what? I want to see a little closer. I want to get a little clearer. See what's out there. So I went and I found a Leupold 12 power that I really loved.
Right.
And I just kind of waited here and there, and then there's that time of year, and we may be close to it now. So, or in summertime when we're talking about this. But there's different times of the year maybe when the listeners are hearing this, it's a little trick that you can kind of do, is other than getting on our email list where we'll let you know about these things.
Oh yeah.
For you. But if you're looking on your own one day, always whenever you go to Cabela's or Bass Pro, go to the bargain bins first.
Yes.
The clearance areas.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I would do, and I look and one day that scope, that Leupold scope, happened to be in the Cabela's bargain cave.
No kidding.
My gosh. And it was originally like $4.99 or something, marked down to like $3.79 or something like that. And they were like really getting rid of it.
Right.
It could have been one of those mispriced things. Remember how you used to find the mispriced items in the was it Cabela's or Bass Pro? They'd price a jacket for like $5.
It was Cabela's that I found the basically the free jacket.
Yeah, the free jacket. So no, I saw that. I was like, oh, I remember I was at work and I was like, oh, buy, put in the cart, add the cart, and I bought it. And again, the scope ended up costing more than the full rifle plus the scope that it came with.
Right.
But no, I've had that thing on there for, I guess, another, I don't know when I bought it, probably, I'm gonna buy it 9 years now, maybe something like that. And you know what? I've only had to I've only had to sight in that rifle twice in like 9 years because I mean, as far as like, I'll shoot it every year, at the beginning just to make sure. But I shouldn't say sight in. I've only had to adjust it slightly twice.
Right.
Since we did the original sighting in.
Sure.
I mean and of course I take care of my rifle. I don't drop it on the ground everywhere and bang it around. But at the same time, just natural moving around in 9 years, you'd think, you'd have to do something with a scope. But
for sure.
That thing's lasted. Been an amazing scope,
Sure.
So,
and that's in the testament to great craftsmanship. That thing is held up, and like you say, you haven't been out there, throwing it around and stuff, but you put in the, you've probably getting out of a blind, you clanked it, or whatever. So
just riding around in cars for so long, and it has to move, something has to happen, you think. But,
for sure.
And the thing about it is, like, I ended up buying another hunting rifle. This time I wanted to get a like an AR platform rifle.
And God.
I don't even know. I assume they ended up buying. I mean, I assume they still make them. But remember, no, I'm not. This is not recent. This is back. Is that what you're saying?
No. I was just thinking. Wow, you are a terrible person for buying a black rifle. That's absolutely terrifying to me.
Well, now I own two of them, so I'm doubly.
God, double trouble.
Double trouble.
Watch out for this guy.
Yeah, one for each arm. But
yes.
And I bought bigger magazines for them. So
oh boy.
Oh dear. Extra capacity. Yeah. But whoever's listening out there, I ended up going back to Remington and I bought their AR platform. R25 is what it's called. Okay. But where they made it on a 243 or a 308 upper or whatever.
Right.
But I went with the 243 because I already had the 30-06, and I was like, I don't need a 308. Maybe I'll try something like a 243.
Sure.
So for that though, it did not come with a scope. So I was presented with, okay, what do I do? What do I put on there? And I guess I could have put my old Bushnell on there, but I was like, I love this Leupold so much that I might try to get another one. Well, I wasn't lucky enough to find, a deal like that again, but I did go to Academy and I got to talking to the people and they sold what's called a Redfield scope.
Oh, yes.
Evidently, Redfield is like the quote-unquote off-brand from Leupold.
They're the Keystone Light.
They're the Keystone Light of Leupold.
Yeah.
And so Academy was selling basically the exact same Leupold scope, but branded as Redfield.
Right.
For like $299,
sure.
Or something like that. And I'm like, all right, I'll take one of those. So I put that on the 243, and that thing's been awesome.
Sure.
Sitting on that rifle. The difference between those two, and this goes down to I guess style or whatever, is my Leupold scope has true crosshairs, like you would think, and then but the Redfield scope has the crosshairs but a circle in the middle, like right at the cross.
Right.
I mean, so it's slightly different in that sense. It's kind of cool. That didn't really bother me one or the other, but yeah, no, I mean that's again, I think. Now this time though, the rifle costs a lot more than that scope. But
yeah.
I think I happened to buy it, during one of those. You know how you go in the cycles of everyone's got to buy an AR, so they're hard to find.
So
I just happened to buy both mine in that time because I was impatient buying guns and I didn't want to wait. So
of course, no, I don't blame you.
But,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah. So, but no, both of them are, like I said, the 12 power, and I've loved that. And I pretty much like you. I don't know if you do, but unless it's like 50 yards in or whatever, which rarely do I get a shot like that. It's literally always on 12. Even beyond that, because it's like you said, you can see the animal so well that I just feel comfortable that way. As opposed to.
I agree. No, I completely agree. And, the only time I really ever dial my scope down is when I'm approaching an animal that I think that may not be down completely. So that way, if I do have to throw my gun up, I'm not going to be shooting into a ton of fur,
Right. Right. And that's where it works against you, right? Because if all you see is fur, then you don't really know what you're aiming at. I guess like what
Yes,
part
yes.
of the
Oh,
what part of the
absolutely.
animal. So
Yep.
yeah. So no, I mean it's I have that Bushnell scope still sitting there, not mounted on anything right now. So I
Right.
think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move that to my AR-15 223.
Nice.
Put
Oh
that
yeah.
guy on there.
Oh
So I'll
yeah.
have at least a little scope on there for
Sure.
pigs
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh,
But I
for
don't need
sure.
to be able to see necessarily 12 times. Nine's good
No.
enough.
Yeah.
And a kind of a entry level scope. I think is good enough for that for pig hunting. But
Sure. Oh, well,
that's
good. Yeah, you've got a lot more scopes than I do.
no, there's no way.
Well, I mean, that I act personally own, include my dad's
Well,
stuff.
yeah.
He's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
so
plan on buying another one because they're so good, and I don't
well,
have more
sure.
rifles than that.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah.
if I do buy a new rifle, then I'll probably end up, obviously, just so you're not moving them back and forth. Because then when you take them off, then you got to sight
Oh
in.
yeah. No, Yeah, that's a really good point. For those of you who are not sighted in a rifle before, it's not difficult, but it's not super super easy either. So, I at least with me, when I put on the scope, boy, that's it. It's done. It is not moving. Yeah. Again, that's just my thing. And a lot of guys will put Loctite on the screws, so that way, just in case you do bump it or something like that, that those scope rings stay nice and tight. So,
Yeah. Well, shoot, we haven't even talked about binoculars yet.
oh, I know.
Yes.
Well, binoculars, I think are kind of the same boat. For some reason, I don't think there. Well, yeah, no, I don't think there is as many varieties of definitely brands, but not as many varieties of binoculars as there are rifle scopes. Again, with the rifle scopes, there seems to be, all different kinds of powers, and typically with the binoculars, they're typically all about the same, I think. Again, you can look at, you've got the higher dollar ones, okay, that have got, that that's going to give you a lot better clarity. I have a pair of Nikons that I call them my off-season binoculars, and they're fantastic. They're great. Now, if I'm looking at something at 400 yards, the clarity's not super super great. But I've got a pair of Zeiss binoculars that I use for kind of my blind binoculars, and they're great. And again, that really allows me to look at the fine detail. Obviously, when you're deer hunting out of the blind, and again, with being that we're in Texas, we have the absolute the luxury of being able to watch deer, so that you pick out the right one. Having a really good set of binoculars are key to being able to see those fine details. Okay. All right, well, gosh, that deer is limping. Oh, wow. Okay, well, is he really hurt? Or, or maybe this is, is that deer really hurt? Or maybe, or maybe it's just got a, strained muscle or something. Okay, well, with a good pair of binoculars, you can zoom in there and see, if you're looking for something specific about antlers, you can do that. Age characteristics. So, yeah, I think a good pair of binoculars is just as important as a good rifle scope, in my opinion.
Oh, I have no doubt about it. For the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, again, similar thing. I used just a cheap pair of binoculars. I don't even remember what the brand was. It could have been a
Right.
Bushnell. I don't. What's a brand that's it's not Bushnell, but it's one that's similar to that kind of name, but it's kind of associated with cheap. It's like at the tip of my tongue. Anyway, whoever that is, I think that might have been who they were. And I mean, I guess they worked okay then. That was kind of back when I don't know. Pretty much all I was shooting was spikes, so that was pretty easy to
Yeah.
to see. But no, I guess I must be a Leupold guy because I ended up buying a pair of their binoculars, and
Mhm.
oh my god, that was like going from Oh my God, I keep talking about this LASIK thing, but let me just tell you, if you're blind like I was, where I had to, if I was going to read something, it had to be like an inch from my eyes. Otherwise, like without my contacts or glasses, or I was just blind as a bat. I
Right.
mean, everything was blur. So in the morning you wake up and everything's blurry. I get my glasses, put them on so I could even read the what do you call it the alarm clock.
Right.
Whereas now, or as of 10 years ago, when I got LASIK, wake up in the morning and my God, everything's clear. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a new world. And man, when I got
Right.
those loop-holed binoculars, it was like I mean, it was just ridiculous. Like and like you're saying about like they would bring in or capture a lot more light. So God, I could see even later. Like I look through those things and be like, wow, I mean, it actually
Right.
would amplify what ambient light is there or whatever,
Totally.
and just see further and clearer and everything. And it was just like it actually made sitting in a blind watching animals even more enjoyable than it already was, because now, like you say, I mean, I can see the detail,
Yep.
of that, and that just helps you be a better hunter.
Yeah.
With a pair of binoculars, and I mean, that's why I think it's good we started out this series talking about optics like this, because yes, they can be expensive, but you do get this is one of those things that I think you do get your money's worth when you spend the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
When
you invest the money in good binoculars and a great scope for your gun, it'll pay off many times over throughout the years. So as long as you take care of them, of course.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's money well spent. Well, I am a very frugal man myself, so it was difficult to pull the trigger, so to speak, on both these purchases back in the day. And that was when I actually had money. It was when I was single and had money. But no, I'm glad I did, because it's greatly helped.
Sure.
It's greatly upped my game, I guess I should say.
Oh yeah. Well, and we talk about, like you say, spending the money and whatnot. There are easy ways to take care of them. One of the worst things you can do to a scope, obviously, is we don't want to get it wet. Okay, and same thing with binoculars. Now they're going to, and if they do, it's okay. But they make all kinds of little devices that you can use that'll kind of help protect it. For example, I've got on my both my 308 and my 260, I've got these little lens caps. Which are just fantastic, because that's going to keep, obviously being in Texas again, lots of dust, lots of dirt. Having a lens cap on there, that way your eyepiece is super clear. That's huge.
Oh, I love them. They are where you just pop them up.
Yep.
Oh my God, I have them on all my scopes. I agree. They're wonderful.
It's a great invention. It really was genius.
So much better than like the rubber cover or the connected caps type thing.
Yes.
Just to be able to, not
open
those things.
Very, very quick. And they actually make other ones too that are actually they're like yellow and orange, so you can actually look through them, and it kind of like amplifies everything that you're looking at.
Awesome.
And I've actually kind of thought about them, but every time I see them, I'm like, oh crap, I got to measure my the bells, as they call them, for your scope. Something else I like for my binoculars. I've got I think we all use the harness system.
Oh yeah.
So, if you're still using binoculars that go over your neck, okay, and not saying that everybody's gonna get neck pain, but they're just, in my opinion, they're just kind of a pain. So we get this binocular harness thing, and it's fantastic. I've always loved it, and it fits. It basically, it's just so your binoculars sit there on your chest, but I've got a little cover that I can put over there too. So if I'm getting out of a blind or I'm walking through something or whatever, and it's sprinkling or it's misty, it's going to cover all the binoculars, so I'll be in good shape.
That's a must. That's the harness and that cover. I mean, the must-haves for we're using binoculars. Just comfort alone, but also when you're just sitting there, it's so much nicer. It feels better just to raise a lure, and you don't have that dang chafage on your neck from. I guess if you put it around your collar or your shirt collar and stuff, it wouldn't be that bad.
Right.
But it's just Oh, it's just terrible.
Yep. No,
I know people are probably listening say, "God, it's not that bad." But
Yeah.
hey, trust me, you'll love the chest harness thing.
Right. Oh no, for sure. It's fantastic, man. I love it. I love it. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so take care of them. It's going to be one of the more expensive, besides like a hunting lease, okay, or a hunting vehicle. Binoculars and scopes are a real intricate part of anybody's arsenal. Obviously, with the binoculars, I don't care if you're muzzleloader hunting or archery, whatever it may be, you got to have them. Obviously, if you're a rifle hunter or you're a slug gun hunter, having a good scope is key for sure. And that's something I didn't really hit on it very much, but like you said. Looking at the bargain bins at the big box stores, that's a great idea. People get the stores and Bass Pro, Cabela's, and the other ones. They get all mamby-pamby when the end of hunting season comes. Okay, that's great times to look for deals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Just make it a little habit and sign up for our email because we'll send you.
No doubt.
We'll send you. We'll do that work for you. We'll send you some stuff that we run across. Deals like that. So you just gotta read our email, and you don't have to bother going to any other website. So
nope, agreed. Agreed.
All right, awesome. You got anything else on optics?
That's really about it. I think if I come up with anything else, we'll do it for the next time.
Yeah, for sure. So, moral of the story, save up some money, or if you got the money, definitely invest the money in a good scope or scopes and a great pair of binoculars. You'll be happy you did.
No doubt. Yep.
All right. Well, great. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this discussion about optics and some of the gear that we're using. We're going to be sprinkling some of these episodes, throughout the year and whatnot, just talking about really what we've done in the past and how, what we use and everything. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, we'd love to hear from you about what you think about what we say on here. We're not the end all be all. We're not the, anything like that. We're just kind of talking from experience, so maybe we've missed something. Maybe you do something a better way. If so, please let us know. We'd love to entertain your idea and then maybe talk about it on the podcast. So
absolutely.
Shoot us an email, howdy@feedbandit.com, and let us know what you think. And also, we mentioned a couple times, if you're not on our email list, please be sure to do that. Again, when you join, you'll get cool tips, awesome tricks. You'll hear some stories. You get really killer, cool hunting deals delivered straight to your inbox. So you can join that list by texting the word bandit to 345-345. And when you do, you'll be joining the hunt with us, and we love to have you in our community. So with that, just want to say thank you, everybody out there, for listening, and have a good one. And what do we always say, or what do we try to remember to say?
Yeah, which we haven't really. Support your local feed store. They need your business, folks.
They do, yes. So always remember, whenever you're going out there, find out who's near you and stop in and say Feed Bandit sent you.
Yep.
All right, folks. With that, we'll sign off. You have a good one. Thanks for listening to the Feed Bandit podcast. If you want to find new and innovative hunting gear and service providers not typically offered through the traditional big box hunting stores, come on over and join the hunt at feedbandit.com/join. When you join, as a bonus, you'll get our entertaining free e-guide of unique hunting tips and tricks. And a reminder to all you small businesses, feed stores, gear inventors, or entrepreneurs in the hunting space, if you'd like to get more exposure to potential customers by being featured on the Feed Bandit podcast, please let us know. We'd love to discuss what we can do for you and your business. Go to feedbandit.com/promote. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give us a rating and review on iTunes, as it would really help us out. Go to feedbandit.com/iTunes. Thanks everyone for listening. Until next time, please remember to support your local feed store.